And the person I've chosen is Ted Bundy. And this has nothing to do with the Ted Bundy tapes. It's just I am one of those weirdos that find serial killers pretty fascinating. However, I don't believe that they're good famous people. They're just pretty interesting to learn about. So, who is Ted Bundy? He's infamously known for assaulting and murdering over 30 women during 1974 through 1978. He was the first to make people realize that even seemingly normal and handsome men could be a killer. This was pretty scary to the public in the sense that anywhere you go, whoever you're sitting next to could be a killer. Before it was kind of that stereotypical, he looks creepy, he must be a killer. This made people realize, like, wow, anybody can be a killer. Early life, Theodore Robert Crowell was born on November 24th, 1946, to Eleanor Louise Crowell. He was raised believing his grandparents were his parents and that his biological mother was his sister. And this was because in the time frame that Ted was born, it was very taboo for teen pregnancies. So his grandparents, instead of having his family have any embarrassment, they just raised him as if they gave birth to him. However, in 1969, he eventually discovered the truth on who his real mother was when he found his birth certificate. Now, this has no correlation with him becoming a killer. Obviously, Ted was a little bit upset about it, but this did not cause him to start murdering anybody. He's one of the only serial killers that really didn't have any typical upbringings. He, was not abused, and he didn't go around abusing any animals. He just one day decided that that's what he wanted to do. In 1951, his mother met Johnny Culpepper Bundy. They married later that year, and Johnny formally adopted Ted, and together he and Louise had 4 other children. However, Ted always remained distant, never making many friends. Education. Bundy graduated from high school in 1965. He later attended the University of Puget Sound and the University of Washington before dropping out altogether in 1968. In the mid-1970s, Bundy felt that he was ready to go back to school, where he returned to the University of Washington to study psychology, and he graduated in 1972. In 1973, Bundy was accepted into several law schools. However, he never finished the program. Life of crime. There is no definitive proof as to when or where Bundy began killing. However, one thing's for sure, all of his victims were female. In 1974, college-aged females began disappearing at a rate of 1 per month, and this put everyone on edge. Bundy used his charming mannerism and good looks to lure innocent victims. Life of crime. He is most known for his broken arm bit. He would approach a female and have his hand full and drop everything. The girl would feel bad and offer to help carry his things to his car. When she bent in to put them on the seat, he would hit her on the head, knock her out, and kidnap her. And from there, he would brutally beat, rape, and kill his victims. And it's really sad because he targeted young college females who they were only trying to help him, so he took advantage of very innocent and caring individuals. And here's a picture of his victims, and some of them were never found. These are his known victims. There still could be many that have never been found. Life of crime comes to an end. Throughout the course of his crime spree, Bundy always managed to outsmart the police or be one step ahead. That came to an end in 1976 when he was convicted of aggravated kidnapping in Utah. He was then extradited to Colorado in 1977 for another murder. In June of that year, he managed to escape from prison, but was found 8 days later. Despite additional security, Bundy managed to escape again in December of 1977, and it took them the next day to find him. So in that time, he successfully got a flight to Florida and managed to live under a new alias, Chris Hagen. Unable to control his urge to kill, he struck again in January of 1978, this time a sorority house. 4 students suffered sexual abuse, and 2 died as a result of the assaults. Bundy struck again on February 9, 1978, and this time the victim was a 12-year-old who he sexually assaulted and strangled. Bundy was caught again on February 15th of 1978. Bundy's second trial began June 25, 1979. The judge found him guilty and sentenced him to death by electric chair. Bundy was executed on January 24, 1989, 9 full years after his sentencing, thanks to a lengthy appeals process. And that's the end of my presentation. I found all my stuff on Wikipedia and other internet sources, so if you wanted to look up any more stuff, you can. And I also do recommend the Netflix documentary, The Ted Bundy Tapes. That's also very fascinating.